This was boiled chicken of an action movie.
Boiled chicken.
Wow, boiled chicken.
That doesn't turn into delicious soup after.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Heroes Peak podcast, a very special May the 4th edition of the Heroes Peak podcast. We are here to talk about entertainment. We're here to talk about Star Wars. We're here to talk about culture. We're here to talk about how we feel like. I am your host, Chris. I'm here with my wonderful co-host today, and we are hopefully going to have a fun, if not late night. First with me is James. How you doing, James?
Hey, may the fourth be with you. Master Skywalker, what do we do? Star Wars is for the kids, ladies and gentlemen. Always been, always has.
Also with us tonight is Keith. How you feeling tonight, Keith?
What's going down? Wu-Tang and nerds are for the children.
Also,
I think
here
there's a
is
delay.
Mike, of course. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, I'm all right. May the fourth be with all of you today.
And finally, Brooksy. How you doing, Brooksy?
Great. Still riding high off my victory from fantasy basketball last week where I smacked Keith all around.
All right, and at this point in the video, that Mike edits, we are going to play the Thanos Invitational update video.
I do not deny that my heart has greatly desired this. In place of a Dark Lord, you would have a queen!
And so Keith will just have to.
Oh, now we put an update video.
Now there's an update video.
Now you were waiting all season.
As you will see after the video finishes, only Brooksy and I are the only ones from the podcast left, as both Keith and James got knocked
this
out
is how
in the semifinal round.
This is the way of the colonizer. Like what you do is you wait till you're in perfect position, and all of a sudden everything is history and everything is historical, and then you actually start recording. You wait till you're in position, then you hit record.
They got statues. They're about to put statues also. They're putting up statues of her winning too.
Hey, like a vampire, you invited me in. So just
don't worry,
everybody, may the fourth be with you. It is Star Wars Day. We are not just going to talk fantasy basketball, but today we are just going to mention some news. We're going to mention some news. We are going to do Ask a Nerd Star Wars Edition with Brooksy, and we are going to talk Without Remorse, the new Netflix movie with Michael B. Jordan. So those are our topics, and we're going to go right into the news, I think. We're going to make this quick. Go right there. I'm going to stop with the finger guns, because that's really, really bad. All right.
Please do.
I mean, life at times with Tim. I heard you walk around the office threatening to kill people by shooting them in their heads. What do you mean? Yeah.
I'm going to get fired because I don't think you can do that anymore.
Probably not.
Yeah,
not in Disney's
especially if you're white.
All right, so today is Star Wars Day. So just a quick mention, I did watch 90% of the first episode of Bad Batch, which got released today, which is the animated series directly following the Clone Wars series, following a group of clones, special genetically engineered clones that did not get Order 66 because of their genetic engineering. And I'm gonna tell you, I love the first
They're also
episode.
part of the clones that learn how to shoot properly, unlike their better versions where they kept missing.
No,
These ones could actually aim and hit.
that's right. That's right. No, it's really good, guys. I would suggest going and take a look at that first episode, and we'll talk and
So
review it later.
they were actually introduced in the Clone Wars series in season 7
Yeah, like I did
when they
not
rescued.
finish the entire Clone War series, Mike. I know you did, so you probably have more on
Dude,
related
But
what are you
to.
waiting for?
you didn't. Did you not see when they were the Bad Batch was introduced? Like the
Final
first, what was the
season.
first? Yeah, first 3 episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I didn't care. Like I was in it to watch the Jedi.
No,
Fair
but
enough.
that was the whole point.
Carry on.
That was the
As
whole
you
point
were.
of introducing them, right? Was to because they were getting their own spin off. They're gonna bring them on so everybody's familiar with who they are.
We didn't know
And
that at the time.
no, we did. Well, I had an idea, but they so they were rescuing fives, and then fives wound up joining them, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't tell you anything about it. I suggest going and watching it and enjoy it because if you like Clone Wars, it's like it would be like a season 8 starter. It doesn't. There's no hiccup from one to the next. It literally the logo comes up the Clone Wars and then it erases to the Bad Batch. So just like that.
nice.
My only thing, and I think we were talking about this offline, the typical episodes are not as short as the Clone Wars, right? They're not half an
Well,
hour.
I
They're
don't know how
much
long they
longer.
are because the first opening is an hour and 10 minutes. So be prepared for
That's an episode.
yeah for the first for a
Even
movie.
Game of Thrones wasn't that long for an episode.
But that's just the first one. It's probably not for the whole of it. But all right, so we're gonna do one more bit of news, and that was a huge Marvel release. Speaking of some more Disney news, um, uh, Marvel released a giant um, teaser, a little emotional teaser to start with. You get some uh, Stan Lee over speaking over some of the more emotional scenes from the last, you know, 22, 23 movies. And then we got some big information drop. We got some Black Widow new footage. We got Eternals footage. And we got Shang-Chi footage. And dates and titles for Wakanda, Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, um, the Marvel Captain Marvel 2, The Marvels, Spider Man, and um, Doctor Strange into the multiverse. No, Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse of
And
Madness.
Thor 4, yeah, Multiverse of Madness, Thor, Love and Thunder, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp 2, Quantumania, whatever, Hulkamania, something.
Yeah.
Hulkamania.
And
Oh,
then we got,
Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Guardians of the
right,
Galaxy 3 is official.
and then we also got a Fantastic Four splash at the end as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So looks like F4 is gonna be in Phase 4.
After 2023, I think. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, well, they officially have the Twitter account for the Fantastic Four too, so they're
Mhm.
gonna start. So yeah, we've got some Marvel. Marvel was not letting Star Wars have its day. I mean, they came out the day before, but still, like people were still talking about it. So,
But Disney's still winning. I'm tired of watching ESPN NBA games.
oh, there you
One
go.
day it's fake Marvel fans. Tonight it's fake Star Wars fans. Like, just talk about the game.
What did you think of the
Like,
the
Yeah,
crossover?
yeah,
The
Oscar the
ESPN.
Grouch. Can other people have fun and enjoyment in their life? Good lord.
no, they haven't earned it. They haven't earned it.
Oh, some gatekeeping going on here.
I was listening to Richard Jefferson on the panel yesterday talk about the Thanos gauntlet, and then the one lady who's actually does a Marvel podcast was like, no, that's actually the Tony Stark gauntlet, and he goes, oh yeah, that's what I meant. I'm like, no, dude, just
I'm
stop.
telling you, they had a little approved list of things they could say in front of them that related to things they have not been watching.
You could tell it was out of control. By Odin's beard,
Right.
who bound?
Weird.
Great.
But so we've got some dates.
I love it.
Oh, what were you going to say, Keith?
No, the visuals of Zion hitting the air ball is crazy.
As Captain America too. They chose him as Captain.
they did a smoke trail, and it did.
They missed him.
I'm like, all that for nothing?
That was funny.
Captain America wouldn't have missed.
Nope.
I did not like how Steph Curry was Captain Marvel shooting photon threes, especially when he was going ballistic.
I was a little bit like, I get it. Like, I would have preferred him be even high. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Eric said the same thing.
Because at least in that situation, it's like, that's where Hawkeye's talent is probably the most pronounced. Like, he's a sharpshooter. Like, legitimately. That's Curry.
He doesn't look menacing.
He doesn't look menacing. Doesn't look, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this guy's a god. Look at Thor. This guy's super smart and he's super rich. Look at Professor whatever, this, that, and the other. But then you got Hawkeye, and his thing is being able to aim really, really well.
Hawkeye finally had a point where he would be
finally had a time to shine.
Yeah, NBA messed up on that one.
This is why I tell you Hawkeye's trash. He can't even rise to his own occasion.
Well, I have a feeling we're gonna get to know him a bit better in our Hawkeye series coming
out. No one will watch.
We'll see.
Exactly.
I don't know. They've had 2 number 1 series already, released. I have a feeling we're gonna see a continuation of number 1s out of Marvel TV here.
They give me the best first.
Hawkeye.
I'm going to give you a theory right now. So here's my theory.
A Hawkeye series with cameos by YouGod will probably be the worst. Like, that's probably the makeup of something of my nightmares. Like being forced to watch a superhero show with the least of superheroes, with the largest cameo being the lesser of all Wu-Tang. YouGod and Hawkeye to make a show together.
So I have a feeling that Loki is going to bring Black Widow back into the MCU somehow.
Wait, where's that coming from?
Living in the past.
I have a feeling.
Wow, that's a big
Loki's
ask.
messing with the timeline.
You think that's why they shifted the order of the movie with the
no. I think the movie would have been out anyway. I don't think
last
the movie
year. It would have been out last year. Then we had all this other stuff.
Yeah, but I think Loki might restore Black Widow.
You think she's coming back? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. That's my theory, anyway.
I don't know, man. I gotta look at Scarlett Johansson's IMDb.
I feel like she has enough backstory for a few more movies, though.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking.
I feel like she's got a whole catalog of upcoming movies, though.
Yeah, like they could go ahead and John Wick her past into like a frenzy of movies, and then give us some miraculous like she came back from death, and like we can get a couple movies into the future.
Yeah. I don't see any reason why they couldn't do some previously, on some of these characters without connecting it to the larger.
I'm not a stickler.
In the trailer,
without it interfering with the story.
In that Loki trailer, he's sitting on Vormir with her, right?
Well, that's a guess. It's a distant shot. It's just orange. So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
I don't know who else it would be on Vormir, but
it's a guess that it's Vormir. It's not specifically called out.
You might be doing a little bit too much in the way of speculation.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that mountain looked very familiar, but all right, let's move on.
All right, we're gonna move on, and we're gonna go Ask a Nerd, Star Wars edition with Brooksy. Are we going right into it, Mike, or are we taking a break?
Oh, we can take a break and come right back.
All right, everybody, come right back. Ask a nerd. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Heroes Speak podcast, and we are going to be starting the Ask a Nerd segment with Brooksy asking us nerds to answer questions. In this case, Star Wars related for our May the 4th be with you.
Nerds. Nerds. Nerds! What is a nerd?
Okay.
All right, first one, Brooksy.
You guys ready for my first question?
We sure are.
We're ready.
All right. So this is all right. So when you watch Star Wars, the first thing that it shows is the words coming up that says "a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away." Right? How long ago? What is the galaxy, and how far is it?
There's no literal time period stated or distance stated. It's just literally supposed to have occurred somewhere else away from Earth a long time ago. That's it.
Correct. It is actually a formulated galaxy where Coruscant is the center of that galaxy. And there's inner rims, outer rims. And if you go into the books, there's actually the outer dimensions of that galaxy. Still not related to anything that we know on Earth. This is all make-believe stuff. But throughout the last...
What are you talking about? It's make-believe.
It's still real to me, damn it. So, you know, it's based on fiction, but it's actually formed fiction. Somebody put together, like Game of Thrones, they put together their version of this galaxy.
The
So
map,
it's not like
there's an actual map. Yeah,
there's an actual map.
Even
And there's actually a timeline too. 5,000 before the first movie, 5,000 BC, quote unquote, and then up to like
No, it's not. It's
where
not
we at?
BC. It's
before Anakin.
Y.
Before the Battle of Yavin, BY.
Yes.
You're right.
ooh, that was
Yep. See, I
Good
did some research.
good nerd
You did.
there, James.
Yeah, Battle of Yavin is like the Christ birth of this universe.
Right. Okay. So here's really this was the first question I thought of because this has really been bothering me for years. So we had the first 3 movies that came out, right? Like literally in 1977, I think was when the first movie came
77,
out.
79, 81.
Yeah. Because I always remember 77 because it's the year I was born.
No.
77, 80, and 83.
83. What am I thinking? 3 years, not 2 years.
When it was released.
Yeah.
You're correct.
I'm like,
Yep.
83
Yeah.
is right. Why am I thinking 80?
Calm down, nerds.
I just lost the point. Oh, shit. Lowry's
Oh, get off the drain.
Fucking Lowry's out. Jesus.
Oh, damn.
Stay on target.
Yo, you
Stay on target.
better
Okay,
win.
so the first 3 movies come out, but it's actually the middle 3 movies. Right? And then the next 3 movies come out like years later, like 30 years later or something. And it's the first 3 movies, the prequels. So why didn't they just start with the prequels?
Well,
His original
I'll let-
idea.
Wait, does Keith want to answer that one?
Go for it, Keith.
I feel like he does.
There's always a before time. They had no idea about what they were gonna like, that they were gonna even have a prequel, or that Star Wars was gonna be a cult classic when they were actually making the first. You know, I'm sure they were just trying to get like success in the box office. Had no idea that it was going to be a 30-year long nerd fest and that they would be at the crowning glory of something like that. So like the prequels come from years and years of like fan fiction of dudes, nerds ruminating in their chat groups and and telling stories and what ifs and where this came from, and then you have birth the idea like, oh, like we could sell them now a beginning to all of this. So they went back and made a beginning, but there was no beginning before that. So the end had to come first
Really?
to actually
George had
to create for the beginning.
they've talked.
George Lucas also said, "Oh, go ahead,
I
Chris."
was just
Sorry.
gonna say, yeah, they've gone back and forth on whether George really had a full outline for the entire Anakin Skywalker saga when he started or not. I've heard it both ways, like that he really had it all planned out, and well, he kind of had an idea where Anakin came from, and things changed along the way. But it
The other thing that he said a lot, which I believe more so, is he was a huge fan of the 1950s Buck Rogers and like the space opera of those generations. And those shows, they were serialized, but they always started in the middle of something, the middle of the action, with very little known about what got him to that point, and with no true ending after that those series. So he said he really fancied around those shows, and that really he marinated on that when he's putting together the Star Wars idea. Like, we'll take the audience in this new galaxy, new world. We'll just start right here at this point in line, and then like he was saying, because they needed money, so he was banking that certain things that he was doing would give him more money because he was paying out of pocket and funding, and eventually he'll go back and tell the full story. Which why it took so long, because it took him some time. He went Indiana Jones after that, a bunch of other movies before he came back to give us the controversial prequels.
Yeah, once he had enough
Mhm.
money, he funded the
Okay.
prequels himself. No one could tell
Oh,
him what to do. Uh, Whereas when he did the first three, obviously he had to take studio money, and he had less money to do it with. And
right.
the more popular they became, the more money he made. And he made some really smart business decisions up front. And so he was able to fund and do whatever the hell he felt like with the prequels and write what he wanted to write. So that's it's kind of one of
Okay.
those.
And for all intents and purposes, George Lucas was going to stop with the prequels, but once Disney bought it from him, they wanted to continue to bank on this story and gave us the last, whatever you call it, the sequel
Sequel to
trilogy, 7, 8, and 9.
Well, he had written a
That wasn't from George Lucas's original mind.
he had
What we saw?
he had a treatment partially written, which we see there are bits and pieces of in the current sequel trilogy, but he didn't want to deal with he did not want to deal with the fan backlash anymore. He was kind of sick of that, but he also didn't want his universe that he created to die. So he sold it for what, $8 billion.
Yeah, which was
So
huge at the
George
time
Lucas,
compared
I thought it
to what
was
yes,
they.
4, but
yes.
still, yeah.
Was it 4 or 8? I thought it
$4
was 8.
billion.
Wow.
Either way, it's a
I
billion
thought it was 4,
with a
but anyway,
bill.
it doesn't matter. It's still a lot of money, right? So
So yes.
Right.
All right. So
Billion
that
with
was
a
a
B.
lot of answers to that question.
Um,
Capital B.
okay. So speaking of George Lucas, how does he feel about? So he did the first 6 essentially movies, right? And then the last 3 wasn't. He didn't necessarily have creative control. Um, I believe, according to what you guys just said. Okay. How does he feel about that? Like, is it widely known, or is he just like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. I got my $4 or $8 billion, so I'm good to go?
No, he
I
has.
don't know. This is a tough question.
Yeah,
yeah,
again, it just like any creative professional, when they interview, it kind of depends on their what they're going on with them that day. Because he said stuff like he didn't like the character, what they did with the character of Ray, but he's also been like, no, I really like the what they've done with it, and he's kind of wishy washy on the whole thing, saying he wished he had kept it so he could keep creative control, but also like he didn't want to deal with the people. He didn't want to deal with the fans.
Yeah, the odd part about this is, so when George Lucas was doing the prequels, he started building like the next stewards of the franchise: Dave Filoni, Kathleen Kennedy, a few other folks. So when those two were up and coming, they were supposed to be the heir apparent, the legacy of Lucas once Lucas walks away from the franchise. So obviously Disney buys it. They buy Lucasfilms, and these two were kept on board, and then Disney promoted Kathleen Kennedy to run the Star Wars because she was the heir apparent.
Yeah, she had worked on other
Thumbs down, correct?
she had worked on
But
other
she was the heir
amazing
apparent.
She worked on
to George Lucas.
other amazing films such as E.T. and
Yeah,
the
she's been a long time friend of
the
Spielberg.
Indiana
So.
Jones
Correct.
series. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's been a producer on some of the biggest names with those two. Yeah, go ahead.
So it was widely accepted that Kathleen was in sync with what George Lucas' vision was going to be up until the movies came out. And then people were like, whoa, this is a new direction. The first movie, episode 7, was probably the most accepted out of the new trilogy. And then came The Last Jedi. And that's when all of the articles came out. All of a sudden, there's backstories. Oh, there's friction between Kathleen Kennedy and certain people also from the old Lucasfilm. Oh, wait a minute. George Lucas didn't really want her as a. Then all these backstories came out because the movies weren't doing too hot as far as critically acclaim was concerned. So I don't think it's a true answer.
we should be careful with that, because if you look, the Last Jedi still, and even the Rise of Skywalker, they still have in the high 80s Rotten Tomatoes kind of rating, and so it's not like they were widely destroyed by critics. They were fine for the most part. A percentage of the Star Wars populace
They were widely
was
panned by
was
critics
very
and accepted
vocally.
by the general audience.
This is where we'd agree.
I feel like
We're not going to start that
this
conversation.
is like a common theme with nerds, though.
Yes.
Like, this is a common theme with nerds. You guys are all like, no, I'm the true fan. This is how it is.
No, there's no true.
Like-
There's no true fan.
I know you Snyder Cut. I know. Look at you. You're a Snyder Cut fan now, and you're telling us that these other DC movies are better than Snyder. So yeah, you already know that answer. You're part of us now. You're one of us.
I don't know. It's funny to like. It's funny. So speaking of what movie, either your opinion or widely considered the best, and I'm only talking about the movies. I'm not talking about all the like shows and Mandalorian and all of that stuff. Just the movies.
Empire Strikes
What's widely
Back.
considered the best?
Empire Strikes
Okay.
Back. There's no. It's widely considered the best. It's just what it is.
Phantom Menace. No, I'm kidding. I'm trolling you.
I liked Phantom Menace.
It's okay to like the Phantom Menace.
I actually really liked Phantom Menace. I've probably seen it like 10 times. No joke.
Good night, everyone.
Wow.
There was a
Good
graphic.
night, everyone.
Maybe Mike will find it for the video. There was a graphic
Oh.
Rotten Tomatoes put
The
out
one,
I mean,
that
the one you sent earlier?
Yeah.
I'll post it up.
yeah, that basically had them all as a fresh rating except for episode 2 and
Episode 1.
no, it was episode 2 was worse. Had the lower rating.
Yeah, people think Attack of the Clones is worse than Phantom Menace.
Huh.
I also liked Attack of the Clones.
Wow.
How old were you when you watched those?
Okay, so then
Wait, you were like in your 30s,
like
20s.
I'm like the same age as y'all.
Right.
I just look
So
younger.
it's not like you were watching them when you were like 12.
He had the Jar Jar Binks action figure.
She's
I
not.
did not have the Jar Jar
She's
Binks.
not watching it
action
through
figure.
nerd eyes. She's watching it through just regular human being enjoying a cinematic adventure. Like that's
Yeah.
sometimes the issue. You guys like y'all overshoot things that don't need to be even shot at.
That's true.
You know what's funny? Hold on. You know what's funny?
I'm going to
So
disagree with you
Eric
there.
watched the trilogies. Eric watched the prequels. He still enjoys the prequels, but can't stand the new sequels. And he's of the age that they're making these at. So he still likes the prequels with Attack of the Clones. He still watches them. But you put on Rise of the Skywalker or Last Jedi, and he has no interest.
Looking at that diagram you sent me, it's got Phantom Menace at 52% and Episode 2 at 65%. So,
So I did have it backwards. Okay.
and it's got Rise of Skywalker at 51%, the worst of the bunch.
So Rise of Skywalker is considered the worst, apparently.
Right.
At least on a
Because it is.
as a audience
By box office?
no, by audience rating.
Right.
Tomato meter.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So would you recommend watching the last 3? to like close out the series? Like, just even if they suck, would you watch them? No.
I watch
No.
them
As far as I'm concerned,
because and this is where we completely again we differ. I really enjoy 2 of those 3 movies. So I think The Last Jedi is an amazing movie. I think it's great.
Brooks, did you watch Game of Thrones, the entire series?
Did not watch. I'm one of the ones that did watch
You
it.
watched Game of Thrones, the entire series. Yeah, it's like the last season of Game of Thrones.
exactly.
Yeah, Rise of Skywalker wasn't any
It's,
good. I agree with that.
What's like the last season of Game of Thrones?
The last season of Game of Thrones is like the rise of Skywalker, where the trajectory of the season
Nerds.
series.
Nerds. You have to add that part because, like, that definitely. The last season of Game of Thrones was horrible to everybody, not just nerds. So that means that it's universally horrible. So that, like, now to equate that to what you're trying to equate it to, that would mean that everybody thought that it was trash as well.
Which is
I don't
everybody
think everybody
does.
thought it was
They
trash.
already did.
I think
51%. It's the
If you
lowest
look
one.
at the ratings, if you look at IMDb or
It's
Rotten
the
Tomatoes,
lowest rated out of all 9 movies.
yes, because it's being bombed by nerds. What
No.
needs
No, you
not.
can't do that. Then no.
all right.
You-
Well,
you
Then
need
I could say the same thing about Game of Thrones season 8.
disputed?
What's the
You need to have
difference?
unbiased eyes who like where are the middle ground people who just like who can tell you, who can go into a piece of visual content and be like, okay, that was just good content. It may not have been the best movie in the world, but like it was passable for what it was for. It was an hour of my time that I wanted to leave into another world, and it did that.
and that's
Yeah, but you can't do that. You can't do that but you can't do that with Rise of Skywalker. It's just like you can't just go and watch season 8 of Game of Thrones and not watch 1 to 7. You're not going to know what the hell's going on. So if you go into Rise of Skywalker and just watch that and you go, "Oh, that was a good movie." I don't know who any of these people are, but it was a good movie.
I think
It
what
was
you
a
have,
watchable
Of course.
what you have with these things
It
is
was a watchable, had some
visual-
excitement,
they're visually
had some
entertaining.
visual.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
They are very visually
Yeah.
entertaining, and so even
All
Rise
right,
of
I brought you this
Skywalker,
parallel, Brooks. It doesn't work for Brooks because she didn't watch Game of Thrones. So
even
she won't get it.
Yeah.
even
I
Rise
mean,
of Skywalker, for
you know,
all its
it's only
negatives,
not
was
watching
visually stunning. So Brooks, I would be very
Yeah, so was the Night King hurl a spear at the freaking dragon. That was visually stunning too. And it made absolutely no sense when he got sheathed 2 seconds later.
all right, Brooks. I'd be very interested for you to watch the sequel.
He Tom Brady that dragon.
I think you would enjoy them.
I think I am gonna. So those are the 3 that I haven't seen. I think I am gonna watch them just to kind of close it out. Definitely will not be.
And then
watching
I would
Game of
want you
Thrones,
to
so
rate
sorry.
them against each
So-
other. I'd want you to rate them against each other. Which of the 3 you like the best and least?
So I think that we're gonna have to do a watching with Brooksy segment on Star Wars new sequel.
Oof,
Yeah.
that's gonna be tough.
I can do that.
It's gonna be
But
heated.
then I kind of want to watch the other ones.
Yeah, one more. We got time for one more. Yeah.
One more question. Okay.
Mhm.
My last question is. Oh, well, I have 2 questions. I'm gonna do the. Okay.
You only get one.
All right. 1. I'm such a dictator. What is the importance of the Battle of? I'm going to say this wrong. The Battle of Yavin. Yavin.
You said it right, Yavin.
Yavin. What is the importance of that? Keith
Like-
looks like he's so shameful that I just asked that question.
Come on, Keith knows the answer.
Yeah.
Battle of Yavin basically was when the Rebel Alliance had a first major victory against, at the time, the Galactic Empire, which was what was the entire movie, was the first episode 4. That was the crux of that movie, right? Luke being found by Leia and Han, and they're trying to get the plans for the Death Star, and then Tarkin and Vader were trying to stop this Rebel Alliance and crush them and get rid of the Senate. It goes on and on and on, but the pivotal moment in the entire franchise was that movie and that battle in the 3rd arc.
Okay. And that's when when they discovered what's his name? What's his homie,
Palpatine?
the Senate leader?
No, that's when they
Sidious?
killed
Palpatine,
That's when
thank
they
you.
killed Palpatine.
No, they didn't kill him in that first.
Oh.
They didn't kill him in episode 4.
That's
Yeah.
4.
Palpatine
Oh,
wasn't revealed. Well, in a new edition, they did show him in
What am I
Episode
thinking?
4 as a
Sorry.
hologram that Vader was talking to.
For some reason, I was
But
thinking that
officially,
this-
we didn't see him.
Well, okay, so I will say this. This was the hardest Ask the Nerds, actually, because they're so, well, I was gonna say it's so involved. Yeah, it's like, where do I even start? So I was trying to make it general, but it was definitely the hardest, but interesting because like the first three Star Wars, at least, were such a big, like, a part of my childhood. And then the next three, which are really the first three, like, I really enjoyed. And then I kind of stopped after that. And then all of a sudden I turn around and everyone's got like baby Yodas and like it's just exploded. And I'm like, what? Like, I knew that Star Wars was kind of a nerdy thing, but then all of a sudden it just like exploded into this hyper nerd
Hyper
series.
mainstream.
Hyper
Well,
nerd.
I think
Yeah.
I think it had
Not nerd anymore.
Maybe.
Mainstream.
I think nerdery in general became more mainstream. So something as old as Star Wars kind of was at the forefront of that spear as it came into main culture.
Yeah.
You know, so it was.
That's true.
Basically, the nerds who were older than us, who were into this stuff, grew up and started owning these companies, these media companies, Marvel, DC, Star
Right.
Wars, graphic novels that some of us never read. All of a sudden, they're all over, content. Invincible, for
Right.
example, Robert Kirkman. Yeah, man, nerds inherit the earth.
Yeah.
I think it's the meek shall inherit the earth.
Ah,
But
it's been revised.
The geek shall inherit the earth.
Geek shall
inherit the earth.
Misspelling.
Not a meek, not a nerds rewriting Jesus. Wow.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
All right.
yep.
So
All
everybody,
right.
Thank
segment,
y'all.
Good segment. Good questions, Brooks.
That
thank
was
you,
great.
Brooks,
Thank you.
for those
Thank you.
questions.
Thank you, guys.
Can't wait for the next version. We'll see what that is. Maybe we'll do an Ask a Nerds where we ask you questions about Fast and Furious or something.
The Kardashians.
No,
Yeah.
not that one. Fast and Furious, yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll be back.
What was Paul Walker's first job in the first movie?
He was an undercover FBI agent.
How many
Shit. That's all I know.
how many times did Paul,
That's all I know.
how many times did Paul Walker get fired from the
And
FBI?
he kept trying to get the newest tuna
All right.
for some reason.
So
How many? Wait. Okay, go on. Sorry.
we are going to go away for a few seconds, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about Without Remorse. Be back. Come back with
All
us.
right, we'll be back. Yeah.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are here to finish off our night. We're going to talk about Without Remorse, the 2021 movie release from Netflix, starring Michael B. Jordan and Pam Kelly. Oh, sorry, that's the character name. Lauren London, Jodie Turner-Smith. A story by Tom Clancy, and it is the movie. Wow, I just did not have that one. It's a Tom Clancy based story of a Navy SEAL with his pregnant wife gets murdered, and he seeks revenge. And that's about as all I'm going to tell you because that's about all it deserves. I might be I might be the only one who thinks that today, but we're going to find out when we talk about it.
It's a little more complicated than that. It has to do with
All right.
people trying to start war, right?
All right. So seeking justice for the murder of his pregnant wife, an elite Navy SEAL uncovers a covert plot that threatens to engulf the United States and Russia in a all-out war. That is the actual synopsis. I'll give it a little bit more respect than that. All right. So let's start.
Yeah, there's always a Tom Clancy. There's always a bigger thing behind what's going on, right?
That's right. So let's start with the general story as itself. What did you guys think of the story, the setup, the follow through? What did you guys think of it?
I think for me, the story is kind of generic. Honestly, what I like and didn't like about it has nothing to do with the story, the setup, any of that stuff. To me, it was just action scenes. That's what it is. Action scenes. Generic storyline. The setup we've seen many times. Countless of movies. Family gets murdered. Now you're on the revenge spree. But this time, this person is a special forces trained, which is cool. You got a top notch actor who's got some, action style chops already from previous movies. And then you just take me on a journey. I want to see him kick ass. That's all I care about.
All right.
That's my take.
Keith, did you think that Michael B. Jordan kicked enough ass for you in this movie?
I could have done with some more. Or I could have done with a couple of those scenes being really quality. And where I didn't have volume and I didn't have quality, like you got to give me one or the other. And I felt like the the movie to me was very run of the mill. Like, oh, this is your run of the mill filler action kind of movie. Like, I don't want to say it was horrible, but it wasn't great.
Yeah. All right, Mike.
It's
What
Yeah,
about
so
you?
a couple of notes.
the movie version of
Oh.
like just a guy.
So a couple of notes. So this is based on a Tom Clancy novel, supposed to be like almost 30 years old. So this was written back, uh, yeah, and I was hoping for, I'm a fan of those Jack Ryan movies and the Jack Ryan series, and I was hoping for a little bit more. It wasn't really suspenseful enough for me. Like, it was kind of predictable. The action scenes were okay for me; they were fine. Michael B. Jordan was fine. I was just like hoping for, I don't know, maybe bigger plot twist or some kind of bigger suspense in it, but it didn't deliver on that for me.
Brooksy,
So
what was your take on this? Were you falling asleep or were you entertained?
I was entertained. I loved it.
Oh, really?
I thought it was great. Yeah, I thought it was great. I there was definitely like some leaps you had to take while watching it. Like, I'm trying to think the one time where Michael B. Jordan is like shot up and he's in whatever country they're in. He's all shot up and he manages to like get in the car and somehow figure out how to drive to like the secret headquarters where his team is waiting for him. That was, it was like, I don't know, I felt like that was a little much, like just that leap of how he could do that. So there were things like that, but I don't know, I just like found it really interesting. I liked the special effects, I liked the action sequences. I didn't think there was like a dynamic plot going on, but I wasn't like watching the movie for that, you know what I mean? So yeah, I enjoyed it overall, to be honest. I feel like every time we watch a movie, I either hate the movie and everyone loves it, or I love the movie and everyone hates it.
It sounds like
So
you and
here we
see,
are.
but
I love it.
you and James might be on the same
I'm
page
with
today.
you. I would be with you 100% if it wasn't a Tom Clancy story, right?
Yeah,
So, like, if it
Fair.
wasn't that and it was just some generic action movie, I would be like, yeah, this is a fine movie. It's okay.
yeah.
But I think I'm expecting more from Tom Clancy.
I and it's funny that you bring that up, Mike, because I feel like we give names and credences. I think maybe a little bit too much props. Like that lets people get away sometimes with lower quality work. Is that they rest on their names or they lend their names out. Yeah, like I try to look at it beyond the Tom Clancy-ness of what the storyline. If I did that, if I did that, then the movies, his movies will really have to hold up to his books, and those books are much better work. You know, so it's so I have to look at it at the lens of like, okay, what kind of action film was this trying to be? I see what you were doing, like, oh, you got a top rate star, cool, like you got the big name star. Um, uh, you- some it opens up. I loved how it opened up. Like it definitely had you thinking, like, oh, it was going to be more of an intense kind of movie. Like them cats get clipped, you know, real silent. Like, oh, he's Navy SEAL, like, and he's obviously very good at his gig. Cool, sets you up all right. And then it starts to get corny. Like I the I feel like I definitely might be alone in this, but I don't think that he's the best actor.
Well, I'll
Michael
Yeah.
B.
let,
Jordan.
I feel like he still needs more time, and not like say like he needs more time practicing or something like that, but like I
More
feel
roles.
like we've pushed him into a certain acting pinnacle that he isn't in yet.
well
It,
for
Could be,
like
yeah.
in our search for a new black sex symbol or blah 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 blah, and like this, he's the it guy or whatever. But like I feel like he's not. He's having a he's having a somebody moment, like when um 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 who played Ray? What's his name? When Jamie Foxx had his moment when everybody discovered him as a good actor in movies and this, that, and the other. Like he's having a Jamie Foxx moment. I feel like right now, like Hollywood is his right now, or like he's just such a powerful name, or what have you. But he doesn't have the accompanying talent level. I feel like.
all right,
Yeah, I can see that.
for me, I thought within, so I didn't realize immediately it was a Tom Clancy thing. I didn't look that up ahead of time. No, I didn't really pay much enough attention to it. So when it started, like, okay, some generic, decent Navy SEAL stuff. Excuse me. But as soon as they got to a conversation scene, I started texting the chat and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is bad, guys." And specifically, like I'm pinning this basically on the director. So Stefano Salima, whoever the fuck you are, like I'm pinning this all on you. So like the when you put actors in a room and you want to have a conversation and you want to have the smartass and you want to have the tough guy and you want to have the someone who's hiding something, and you have all these characters and you want them to show their goods against each other as they bounce off, and you want that the conversation to be quick and be interesting or highlight somebody or something. And like I never felt any tension or anything like that, even when somebody was giving a maybe a strong individual performance, say after the death of his wife. Michael B. Jordan's like crawling across the floor, and he's given this tearful cry, like, and I'm like, okay, I guess that he's, yeah, I guess he's doing it well. He's acting to the best of his ability, but so far up until now, like, I didn't get the chemistry between him and his wife. I didn't get the chemistry with the family. He's home and he's finally happy to be done with this life, and then it comes and haunts him. Like, like none of that stuff was building for me to feel when his wife got shot. And the camera work, or if it was the just the story writing, I'm not sure exactly what part of it wasn't clicking, but none of it was building for me. So even when we did get some decent action scene, which the best ones were the first two, the first one in the opening shot and then him clearing out the house, were the best best action scenes. Like I wasn't feeling any attachment to that. I didn't. I was like, it was very generic action shoot 'em up at that point.
Yeah, I'm with you there. But for
Yeah,
me, the best action
I agree.
scene was the
The
best scene for
jail,
me was the
the
in the
cell.
apartment with the two snipers.
Okay.
Yes,
That's my favorite one in that movie.
that's when they're in Russia.
I like the
believe.
cell.
Mm.
I like the cell fighting
Yeah.
when he was fighting.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. But going back to Chris has a good point about things that didn't do well. I think if I'm nitpicking it, it definitely was the camera and the cinema. Like some areas were just too not lit enough, too dark, wrong angles. That part I was picking throughout the entire movie, and I was kind of shocked for a movie of this budget for it to feel like the camera work was just not great. Certain scenes it's too dark to see what's happening. Certain scenes it just looks like not. No, Snyder cut version visually looked better than the Josh Whedon version. Um, so stuff like that took me out many times. But once we got into like that, the act that Mike was talking about with the action scene, with pure action, it reminded me a little bit of Extraction. Not done as well, but kind of like the Extraction movie that we reviewed a year ago this week.
See, I didn't think there
And
was enough good hand-to-hand combat to even compare it to a movie like Extraction. I thought there was
true,
some
you're right on that
mediocre
one.
gunplay, some decent like infiltration scenes, but other than that, it really wasn't. It wasn't inventive at all with it.
It's like they were going across checking off boxes.
Mhm.
Like, okay, disgruntled soldier killed his family. Check.
Right.
Uh, like it. There was no feeling in that movie. Like I didn't feel anything for that. Like I didn't get any feeling from them.
Yeah, even when he was on the roof
Right.
and he's supposed to be like the final hurrah to let the people get away. I thought that whole scene was bland.
We, yes, like yes. There was no seasoning on this whole movie.
No seasoning.
Right.
So it's boiled chicken of an action movie.
Boiled chicken
Wow, boiled
Jesus.
chicken.
that doesn't turn into delicious soup after.
Yeah, they barely salted that water. Come on, guys. Brooksy, we haven't gotten enough from you. More from you? What did you like about this that maybe we aren't seeing?
Uh, okay. So here's the problem. I saw the movie and like loved it, and then last night we watched what is it? Nobody.
Oh, nobody. Okay.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, we reviewed that a
Yeah,
couple weeks
and
ago.
I know. My bad. I just watched it. Sorry. And that movie was so good that now I'm thinking of like that movie as opposed to Without Remorse. So I'm getting them mixed up a little bit because nobody had so many good action scenes and like random things, like that you just had never seen before. So I think that's why I'm a little quiet because I remember like, and it was really only like 3 days ago that we watched Without Remorse. But that's how quickly I forgot about it. But I don't know. I really liked it. I agree with you. I didn't think like Michael B. Jordan and Lauren London like they didn't really have a ton of on camera chemistry or anything. I generally
They killed it underneath
like.
the cover.
I was gonna say he had more
I'm saying
chemistry
they
with
killed it
his
underneath the cover.
commander, sir. The Jodie Turner Smith.
And by the way,
Yeah.
this is going to be it's another movie where we cast Guy Pearce as you think he's the good guy and he's the bad guy. Like, is he going to be typecast
It's like a
this now?
giveaway.
Yeah,
Guy
wasn't he like
Pearce
that
is a
in Bloodshot?
giveaway.
And Bloodshot, same thing, right? So, yeah.
That's whose character I liked, the commander's character, right? That's the woman. I really liked her
Yeah.
character a lot.
Yeah, I liked her too.
Yeah.
Stop. No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
I did. No, I really
No, you
liked her
didn't.
character, actually.
I think she was.
I did.
She was
In
fine.
the whole movie.
I think she was fine, but again, where the director really fell down, like when Guy Pearce comes in to her office, and she like stands up and goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, director," and they just kind of stare at each other for a minute. Oh, Eddie Soldier.
Yeah.
And it's just like this weird stunted dialogue setup. And I know Guy Pearce can do a better bad guy than that. And I know Michael B. Jordan
Yeah.
can do a better, scene where
What
he's
did he do something wrong? I feel like he didn't do anything wrong. He's just not like he's not that type of actor. Like
yeah, I'm thinking they didn't
he's
take
not a compelling actor. Much like what's his name in Tenet. I
oh
didn't. It's not like I didn't like his performance, but it was just dry. Like it was
Who
just it was pretty much like, hey, just give me some acting.
yeah, the main
you
guy
talking
Like
about
main guy
Denzel
in Tenet,
Washington?
I agree with that.
it just wasn't like I can't say he did a bad job because he like it was acted and like, but it wasn't compelling. You didn't pull me into your character. You didn't. You know, like you just didn't put no color above the character. You just acted out the lines that you remembered.
Yeah, and that's where I
Yeah.
put it on the director is because he's supposed to take that and go, okay, you're giving me this performance. How do I get the best where this that fits better into the story and bring the audience into the performance? And it just didn't feel like it was trying to get me in. I felt like I was watching Michael B. Jordan take his first take with each of these lines, and they're like, "Fine, that worked. You did it. Let's go to the next
Yep.
shot."
Let's
Yeah,
move
very
on. Yeah.
generic. Very
And this
generic.
is what you're gonna get. I feel like I think that we need to temper our expectations a little bit because like in this new world of like increasing content, it's just not all. Most of it is gonna be run of the mill. It's gonna be like we're in sizzle and no steak territory. We're gonna get a lot of sizzle reels, a lot of like everything is gonna look extra hype, but like they don't have the like there's not the time to really continuously make quality programming like for what our consumption needs are now. So we have to assume the majority of this content is going to be like middle of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, James, did you think anything about the could have been improved that would have made you like it more than just as a action filler?
Better director. Better director. Better cameraman. Better writer.
So
Keep
I know.
Michael B. Jordan. Keep Michael B. Jordan. Keep the
Well, I know
character.
you can't hear Keith right now, but he was saying that he thought that Michael B. Jordan was the wrong person to play in this role.
No, I don't think so. Not at all. I think what
Hmm.
he had was just terrible, and he did what he could with it. But yeah, big picture to me, there's a lot of flaws in this movie that only I gave it a pass because of Michael B. Jordan and the third act, the action sequence.
Okay.
All right, so why don't we do our grades for Without Remorse? I'm gonna let Keith go first. What's your grade for Without Remorse?
I'm gonna give it a solid C plus. Like that's average, right? Whatever average is,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and
I
give
would
it
say C
solidly
plus is a solid. Okay, Mike,
solid average.
what's your grade?
Yeah. Also C plus. C plus for me as well. So I
Okay,
was teetering between like a C and C plus. So I give it a C plus.
okay,
Since
Brooksy,
some of the
grade.
action scenes were okay for me. So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So I had started off by giving it an A, and then I know everyone's disappointed. Um, for some reason, watching The Nobody made me lower my grade for this movie to a B.
because you were invested in a character doing interesting things, not just a flat action movie. That would be my
Yes,
guess.
exactly. Yeah. No,
Still,
I agree with you.
still, B's a solid grade. You had fun watching it, right?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like if this was in the movie theater, I would have been very like happy that I went and saw it, minus the whole COVID situation.
Right. All right, James, what's your grade?
I started also at a B minus, watching it with Eric, and then catching it again with Serena, as I literally saw her walk out with her phone in her hand, like a third way into the movie, and not come back. I was like, yeah, C plus. She never came back. I was like, she's coming back to finish Christmas? Nope.
All right, and I'm gonna give it the final grade. I'm gonna say C minus. I'm going lowest of the podcast. It just bugged me so much, and even the fight scenes that were good, I didn't think they were inventive or all that interesting. We've seen a lot of Tom Clancy. We've seen a lot of, revenge movies. We've seen soldiers, and we've seen it all. At this point, if you're gonna make something, it's fine if you just throw something out into the streaming universe. But if you want to make something interesting, you got to put some more oomph behind it, please.
So one thing that worries me now, because if you compare something like Hunt for Red October or Patriot Games, there's barely any action in those movies.
Oh yeah, they're all
it's
intrigue.
really a good suspenseful thriller.
Very
Right.
Better
competitive.
stories, though. Better
So,
stories. Better.
but we've gone into this area, this thing of writing now, where if you're going to do a movie like this, you have to have action every 10 minutes, and that's going to be a problem with a suspense movie, right? Like I don't need action every 10 minutes.
No, you're still gonna get suspense movies. Those movies are not going away. You're still gonna get thrillers. You're still gonna get, serial killer based this, that, animal style movies. Those are not going away anytime soon. I think the problem is some folks are gonna try to meld the two and give us like a Tom Clancy movie with some sort of a thriller, and they're gonna fail. They're gonna try to give you espionage, spy thriller, looking at the old Bourne movies, and it's not going to work out.
Yeah, it definitely
I didn't
didn't
like- that's
feel
why I didn't
the
like that,
thriller portion of this.
Right, and I didn't
Soviet
like
and Russia, Americans and Russians were actually in collusion of doing this. Like, really? We're back to that now?
Mm-hmm. No, but that's why I didn't like that Chris Pine Jack Ryan movie either. They kind of went and did the same thing with it. So, Keith, you were saying though
That I agree with what you were saying though. Like sometimes it seems like in more of the mediocre, the less story driven, action movies, they have to throw more fight scenes at you because there's not enough story to carry the actual carry the actual movie. The behind the scenes writing.
Yeah.
You made perfect. Yeah, you made perfect examples though. Like a movie like Red October, it's still your military kind of drama, but it doesn't need the fight scenes because the storyline is so thick and rich, and the actors are appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true.
Okay, why don't we finish off tonight? It's a late night. We had some technical difficulties at the beginning of the night.
Yeah, we apologize we've been having technical difficulties all night, but we'll see how it comes out.
All right, so Mike, where can everybody find us to help us and this podcast grow bigger?
Yep, you can follow us at Heroes Peak, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube videos and share and get the word out.
That's right. I want to thank everybody for joining us. May the 4th be with you. And have a good night, everybody.
Wrong, Mike, wrong.
Wait, right? This is the one.
Bye,
This is the one, right?
That's right. Nanu.
Nanu.
Nanu.